Yeah, Film Vault. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That's Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishop, your host for today. Top 5 on-set deaths. Yes, with the new re-release remake of The Crow dominating the box office, we figured why not revisit top 5 on-set deaths. We did a similar list on set tragedies back in 2019, but this is a new list with new entries. So here
Was
we
that
are. How are you, buddy?
2019?
Yeah, onset tragedies. It's a different list, but there's turns out there's enough to go around. Hold on, let me get a little stat for you here.
It was a
This
tragedy. It's
was
been 5 years. I
this
can't.
was shocking to me. According to the article by the New York Times, there have been at least 194 serious accidents on American TV and film sets just from 1990 to 2014, and at least 43 deaths, as quoted by the AP.
I read the same thing, Brian. Similar research. No, my microphone is dying.
Come back. Oh no, it's gone.
Oh, Christ. Oh, Jesus.
Well, try plugging it in.
Check. All right. I guess
Where's that handsome silver bastard you normally use?
that's my AD mic. That one. This is the old AD mic. It died. It couldn't take. And I thought it could live.
Good,
Right. I thought it could
good
live
leftovers.
on
Yeah,
a stem.
seconds.
Because of the AD mic, I mean, in a car, I'm hanging it from places. It takes a lot of
Jesus.
I thought it would be able to. So, fingers crossed. I had to move. I'm in the guest room where it's not blazing saddles hot. The boy is out there by himself right now. The reason why I'm late, if you must know, is I had to make him dinner. I had to do at least 4 pages of homework. Some of the stuff's tough as well. Some of his homework,
Yeah.
I help him out and be over his shoulder while making his dinner and tending to my dog. Who, what is the word that they use when they
Dog sitting,
they correct they Bob Barker them? What is it?
the neuter,
Spay and neuter?
And
Spay
neuter,
and
but they use something else too. They use a word.
sterilize,
Scoop
castrate,
their bits.
No, it's not.
castrate.
The fuck is it? It's something. Like when you get it from the pound, it'll say whether it's been
Neuter to spade is kind of all I've always heard.
there's another word. It's just escaping me right now. Not that important, but yeah. So my poor Coda, she's all in pain out there. We had to pick her up about an hour and a half ago, and making sure that she's okay. And yeah, a lot going on. The wife's still at work, and we're making this work. We're juggling.
Well, after the audio mess that was last week, I assume
talking
we'll
about,
have
Brian?
well, that I was told it was good to me, but apparently, Avery, you and I are the only 2 listeners of this show who heard a clean version. Everything else
Pristine.
was a disaster.
Pristine.
Yeah, that sounded great to me, but apparently there was a laundry.
It took me a minute to figure out what was actually going to be laid down and what the people would hear. And then once I did the math and realized what was upstream, downstream, and which version people would be hearing, I realized that they would be hearing what I was hearing, which was, like I said, it sounded like I had a very upset captured person who was attempting to escape and let the neighbors know because my washing machine is on the fritz.
And it is the perhaps the smuggest I've ever heard Brian.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
We're
brought
fine.
to
Move
it was
on.
brought to my attention by Rand that there might be something worth listening to. I played back that audio and I was crying laughing.
It is pretty funny.
I've listened to it about 20 times, and the reaction is not diminished in the slightest. It brings me
If you missed last
extreme
week's
joy.
show, what
I
you're
stand
we're
by
talking-
it.
what we're talking about is my very, very loud noises were coming from my washing machine, which was in cycle out in the garage. And there's some kind of limiter going on my end, so it was canceling it out. So Avery and Brian can hear it. It's right in the beginning of the show too, and it is funny because Brian's given that standard line that he used to give Corolla for years, like it's a curse and a blessing that you can hear every little thing that's going on and you're distracted by the tiniest of details.
And then he said, "I am confident
The most
that no one else
insignificant.
can hear what we are hearing now."
There's no way.
I think Avery needs to lower his volume down a little bit. You seem a hair odder than. So, okay, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're talking about on this here program today. We're going to talk about, hey, there's a movie that I have to talk about called Strange Darling. Not the greatest title.
Oh yeah.
But we will talk about Strange Darling.
Fuck.
I
I
wanna hear.
wanted to see, could not see.
On this episode. We will let you know if it's worthy of going to see, not only to see eventually, but should you get your asses in a seat and see it? I have something to say about that. We're also going to be talking about Idea Man, which is a Jim Henson documentary, which Brian assigned me. And then we're going to be talking about Speed Cubers, which is a short film available, very accessible, available on Netflix right now. Jonathan Muser, that's half of his assignment that we owe him. So he's going to come with another shorter film to round out his assignment. But we will talk about Speed Cubers, a movie short. While it might be short, it did make me very emotional a few different times.
Can I tell you what else I'm bringing to the program? Avery, put this in the title, baby. I saw Blink not once, but twice.
Oh boy.
Cool.
Blinks were had twice.
I love this new thing that I'm kind of sticking to, where I'm gonna find what I want to watch and what I don't want to watch, but probably maybe should for the program. I'll let Brian tackle that one because he seems to respond more.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
As long as you're fine with hurting the show.
I don't think it's hurting the show because we all get to hear you talk. Hey, what is the point of the show? I know a lot of people dip in
to hear me wax.
People dip in for entertainment value every now and again, right? There's people that dip in just for to get some recommendations, or they're like, hey, strange things. I mean, Strange Charlie. I wonder if it's worthy of Blink twice. Let's hear what these idiots have to say about that. And then they dip out.
Harry said Freudian slip. These idiots.
No, it wasn't Freudian. It was specific.
No, plural. It's just me.
When I caught an older movie playing at the Academy Museum, re-released in 4K. Enjoyable.
Well, I guess we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
sniff minus the title is confounding.
I know.
that was seeing it in 4K re-release of the Academy. That was the sniff.
Okay, let's
Birth of a Nation?
No, he did not see Birth of
Save.
Death on set. Okay. Birth of a Nation. What a down week it was just reading about.
Yeah. I had to cut it off at a certain point. I was like going on wormholes and rabbit holes and learning about trains running over people. I'm like, I don't want to know anymore.
I think I read every single tragedy that happened, whether it was injuries or deaths in film and television over the last week. And it's going to be a little more academic. Some weeks are more academic than others. This one is going to be, it's not going to be like our top 5 favorite. I'm going with the most.
No, in fact. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And I learned some new stuff since the last time we did this 5 years ago. So that was interesting. I don't know how I missed a few of these from way back when, but I'm going from most deaths to least deaths to most deaths. Right.
There's at least 2 on my list that I have not seen. Why? Because nobody's seen them.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, this is one of those rare weeks where I'm actually excited to hear what your list is.
This is I appreciate that. This is morbid for a number of reasons, but sadly, when you go down some of these wormholes enough, they all lead to, well, a bunch of people died, or someone died, or there was a lawsuit, and the movie came out. They just finished the movie. It's like, it feels so tasteless.
I know, but think of all the people that actually work.
I know.
Hard. I mean, it's tough.
And some people dying for their art, right? Especially if it's somebody performing a stunt and.
Funny, not funny, but funny said that one of my movies, they are attempting, they had attempted to spin it as, oh, we're finishing the movie in this person's honor. This is to honor their work and their vision. It's like, I don't think it is.
Speaking of spin, my number 5 is definitely spinning and controversial in many ways. And I don't even know if it deserves to be on the list. And I'll probably take a little flack. I can tell you this, Brian. If it was on your list, I'd be pissed.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully it's not.
Speaking of flack, the listeners thought this was quite a dark subject. That was most of the comments for the soliciting listener top 5. So the listeners are concerned.
Are they?
They are, which I think is odd because it's not like we're reveling in the pain and the misery. I think it's more educational and it's relevant, in light of The Crow being re-released.
Yeah. This is stuff you wouldn't normally. Honestly, a lot of this gets swept under the rug. I'd only heard about in the long list of tragedies on set, especially recently. I'd only heard about 5% of them.
What if they did animals? It would just be like a book.
Oh God.
You might
Oh, we
have-
did that. I did one of those on the last list. It was the Charge of the Light Brigade, 1936. They fucking killed a bunch of horses.
Hold on a second.
What?
You have that on your computer, yes?
My last list, yes, I do.
Okay, good. I was going to be afraid of your brain.
Oh no, I couldn't recall it that quickly. So.
Battle that off. Common
I
knowledge.
appreciate that you think that I could in my current state. That said, oh, I got a list for next week. You want me to run right in? Oh, Flickfessions first from the fans, listeners, and then I got us a great list for next week.
Ooh, a little preview from Bryan.
Right.
But right now, little fanfliction from the people, what the people have seen, compiled by Michael. Peter Beta on Facebook. I saw Strange Darling opening night in a nearly empty theater. Go give this movie your money! Exclamation point. Holy smokes, this feels like something special. Willa Fitzgerald gives the best performance of the year. Kyle Gallner is fantastic as usual. And the old Giovanni Ribisi as DP really made the film look amazing.
Who
Hats
gave
off
the
to
best
writer.
performance of the year?
That was Willa Fitzgerald, the lead in this. Hats off to writer-director J.T. Molnar for this movie. Going blind for best results.
Anderson's not going to let that happen.
What?
You're not going to let us go in blind. You're going to crap all over this movie.
No, I'm going to be real careful though. I think that I've been doing this long enough to be able to, whet your appetite without ruining anything, and telling you what to, why to give your money and your time to this movie without. I think for me personally, it's hard to actually even have the show exist because for me personally, I like to know I like to know the names that are involved, especially like the creators. I like to know the filmmakers that are involved, and what they've done before to have an idea of what to expect or to see like where they're going with this next chapter, as it were. But most people want to hear a little bit about, is this for me or not, right? So that's
I think we're on the extreme end of the show don't tell. If I don't want to hear about it, if I'm in, I'm in. I think a lot of people want to get the beak wet before they dive in.
And I think we do a pretty good job because I'm not gonna lie, I listen to other film podcasts. I dip in and I got friends who do film podcasts that I listen to. And I think that we're pretty good. A lot of film podcasts, especially the professional ones we're professional, but especially the ones that like are public, that are part of syndicates and whatnot. Like they'll start by giving you the entire log line of the movie, right up to the second act. And it's like, what? It's like a book review. It's like they're proving that they saw it or something.
It's like, I believe you.
I can talk about a movie for 10, 15 minutes and I'm not really patting myself on the back, but this is how I go. Like where I don't even talk about the story I'm just talking about characters and motivations maybe, and not even really about the beats. I'm just talking cinematography, the sound, the music. Like there's plenty of ways to talk about movies and get people excited about them without talking about the beats of the story.
David Gulick on Facebook. I saw Strange Darling in the theater. It's a really good thriller that subverts expectations in uniquely original ways. Also visually looks great, and it has jumped right to the top of my list for #1 movie of the year so far. And this is a note from Mike Cole. Please note many devoted listeners expressed concern that Strange Darling may be too confusing for Bald Bryan.
I was afraid of that.
So, viewer beware. Our very own Florence Brummer on Facebook. I saw Blink twice. Zoe motherfucking Kravitz is a genius. Wow. I was on my toes the whole movie. Very satisfying ending. Direction and set design was exquisite. It was peppered with a good comedic tone and a stellar cast. I didn't watch any trailers, and I was delighted with how it unfolded. Also, Channing Tatum was a lot of fun. Definitely shows that significant others can work together.
Wait, what is that? Are they dating or married?
Hard to say.
Okay.
Don't know. Devin Miller on Instagram. Blink twice. Good performances by Naomi Ackie and Channing Tatum, and an interesting plot with some twists, but felt like it was too sanitized given the subject matter. 3.5 stars. Paul De Paula on Facebook. The Killer 2024 this is a remake of John Woo's classic by Woo himself, currently streaming on Peacock. It's mostly by the numbers Hitman's story.
Snake in his own tail.
And locale. It is slightly more interesting, but there isn't anything here we haven't seen before.
Snake eating his own tail. What how does that come about? Does he approach like producers saying, "Hey, I want to remake a movie that I made 30 years ago," or are they, "Hey, I think it's time"?
I think he logs into his bank account for the first time in 3 years and goes, that's lower. And then he calls up his agent and tries to
It's like Taylor's version. It's like Taylor, John Woo's version.
All right, Brian.
Please don't even. No, Britton Poole on Instagram. I watched The Union on Netflix. It had some decent action with a completely unbelievable plot. Marky Mark gives an okay performance along with Halle Berry. Good movie if you want to waste 90 minutes and you can ignore glaring plot holes.
Honestly, long holes. You said holes for a long time. Very long.
Well, there were a lot of holes. Our very own Drake on Instagram. Finally, I'm a company man. And when Bald makes a recommendation, I'm going to watch it. This is terrible instinct.
I don't like
so I watched Man of the Century.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was unique.
Did I ever assign this to you?
No.
Oh, you're going to love Man of the Century.
It was unique, and I absolutely loved the dialogue.
Fuck yeah.
The lead really balances the tone between his world and the modern one, and he may be even more positive than Bryan. It was a fun recommendation. Thank you. From Drake.
Wow, surprising. Anderson.
Wait, Drake? That was Drake?
That was Drake.
I thought it was some fool who I'd never heard of. Drake, what?
No, it's our very own Drake, the
Watch
Drake.
your tongue. You're going to be watching Man of the Century.
Whatever Bryan says to watch, you watch. Oh, Drake, I thought you were a smart man.
I occasionally give out recommendations. Are you familiar at all with Man of the Century? I must have had it on a list years ago, but that doesn't mean anything for you.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, and I remember thinking, this is not made for me.
It is so delightful. It's so wonderful. It's a black and white film set in modern times, 1999 or whatever it is. But the main character is Johnny 20s, and he exists. It's like an SNL sketch. He is from the 20s. He has all the lingo 21s could do and all that shit. And he lives in modern day New York as though he's not putting on an act. He is transported from the 20s into modern day society. It's wonderful.
It's like that Hitler movie when Hitler came back.
Nah, this is a madcap comedy.
It was a madcap comedy. It was
Hitler, but this is in the tradition of like His Girl Friday.
Okay, all right. Don't say no.
I've seen both. You have not.
What is the Hitler one called?
Look Who's Back.
Look Who's Back. I was gonna say Look Who's Talking, which is
was not on my computer.
Look Who's Talking. A Hitler story.
What kind of hubris do you have to have, Anderson, to start comparing movies you haven't seen? Oh, it's like that movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's a lot of hubris. You're right. You got me there. Touche, Bryan. Touche. I have not seen either. I would imagine that they're both. Once I watched Man of the Century.
Oh no, you've seen. You've seen Look Who's Back. We Fest it years ago.
Yeah, I know, but I have not seen the one that I was comparing it to. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It took a lot of balls to take that stance, which I did. And I'll be right in a few weeks once I see yours. But until now,
it's such a treat. You're gonna love it so much.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff to Flickfest. Can I just say that maybe the most compelling, actually, you know what? Without a doubt, the most compelling thing I've seen since I last saw you, and that's including Strange Darling, which I absolutely love, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But the most riveting thing, it's apples and oranges, so it's not even fair to bring this into discussion. But Chimp Crazy is fucking remarkable. And
is it?
Guys, are you familiar with Travis the Chimp?
No.
I've seen the billboards for this, but I know nothing other than
Chimp
that.
Crazy?
Chimp Crazy from the producers, the director that brought us Tiger King, which, is a phenomenon. Everyone freaked out. And I liked Tiger King, but, Joe Exotic, I was like, fuck this guy pretty early on when I learned that he was killing full-grown tigers once they...
Oh, there's a series on it? I want that.
Series on HBO called Chimp Crazy from the same people. I'm like, oh, look they're just trying to do the same thing. I begrudgingly watched the first episode with my wife. Could not wait for the next one to drop, as the kids say, which it did last night. Watch the second episode. You guys, this is fucking amazing television. Really, really well done. The fact that they got so lucky with these characters. Yes, there is sadness about the chimps, and I'm the first one who's going to react. Well, I shouldn't say the first, but I don't think I have to go on and on about how I got a bit of a soft spot for animals, and that was one of the reasons why I was reluctant. I'm like, I don't want to watch these chimps who are probably being treated poorly, and it's remarkable television. It's very good. The main woman, they actually so far have me empathizing with her. I know that she's wrong, but I can see that she thinks she's right, which is a way more than I could say about Joe Exotic. I'm shocked that I'm looking at it on IMDb right now. It's only at a 6.5 and it only has 190 ratings. So that tells me that people are not flocking to this, despite the fact that it comes from the same cloth as Tiger King. This Chimp Crazy, give Chimp Crazy at least the first episode and tell me you can't continue to watch this thing.
Does it need to be 4 episodes? Does it justify the length?
I don't know how many episodes could have. I want more. I'm hoping way more than 4. Alan Cumming plays a big part in it because he's part of PETA, and he worked with one of the main chimps in question. Why are you saying 4 episodes? Is that what they have it at?
I just looked it up, and there's 4 episodes that I can see.
Guys, there's only 4.
HBO.
Oh, man, I want more. I think there's going to be. I'm hoping there's going to be more, but maybe it's just going to be 4. Oh, that's depressing. Yep, looks like it rounds out at 4. Give it a shot. And if you've never heard of Travis the Chimp, the most violent, horrific chimp attack in history, that's kind of what the woman in Nope was based on. And it's like it all comes together when you see that. Yes, Atticus, how can I help you? Yeah, go get yourself a treat. Thanks for asking.
Was that the one where the chimp took off the woman's face?
Yep. And they have the actual audio. It's tough to hear.
I don't want this.
It's tough to hear, but it's real life. It's something that happened, and
so we do have the chimp tearing does occur. We do have chimp mutilation.
Yeah, but we don't hear that happening. We just hear the 911 call, and like he's eating my friend. He's eating her now. He ripped off her face. Like it's
oh boy.
Yeah. Chimp Crazy. I give it a big enthusiastic check out. Chimp Crazy. Okay. This woman who's I keep saying to Jillian, maybe I'm gonna be I keep saying I don't think this is real. I don't. It's just I can't. I think it's cooked. It might be cooked. It might be a hoax. I don't know. It's great. I oversold it, I'm sure, but it's really good. All right, let's hear about Blink Twice.
Is it about that one chimp attack, or is it about chimps in general?
No, the one chimp attack just gets cited, and it's kind of a reminder as to why we shouldn't have chimps and what can happen with sad chimps and chimps that aren't happy with their surroundings and whatnot. But no, it's more about Missouri's the Wild West as far as like animal trading and selling and exotic animals, and like they still don't have any laws preventing it, so that's where you go to get your animals. And
didn't realize.
The woman who she was the chimp lady for the longest time. She didn't like the media, but she would rent out her chimps for parties, and like pretty much every chimp you saw like on a Hallmark card or commercial or in a movie or TV came from her little chimp parties. I think
chimp roster.
Chimp parties, I think was what it was called. Her husband, he used to help out too, and you see the husband and like, hey, it looks like his nose came off like Mr. Potato Head, and then somebody put it back on, which is exactly what happened because a chimp took his nose off.
Oh,
yeah, it's good, guys. And then so this woman who did all this, she's getting old, she's getting tired, and she's not able to care for the chimps like she used to. PETA's starting to come down on her. She has volunteers or people that come by and help. One woman went there, spent $300 to spend an hour with the chimps or with a chimp, and she loved it, fell in love immediately, and she's like, this is my life, this is what I should be doing. And she's like a female Donald Trump almost. There's something very, very Trumpy about her and strange. I don't even know. It's just she is just like one of the most odd, strange people, but you almost feel for her because her heart's in the right place, but it's not in the right place, but she thinks it is. She thinks it's complex. Watch Chimp Crazy. I'm telling you.
There is something nice about that kind of genuineness. It's like, oh, you're misguided, but you truly believe what you're doing.
Yes. And the cliffhanger that this last episode ended on, it's like, well, all these people are in jail now. They all must. I'm not going to look it up. I don't want to, ruin what's going to come next on the next episode, but these people must be in jail. I mean, they have to be.
Oh, chimps.
Can I talk like twice?
Dude, the year of the chimp.
I was just going to say monkey season continues.
Monkey season is continuing. Yes. Where's Tonka? Sorry, go ahead.
Blink Twice is a 2024 film directed by Zoe Kravitz.
How many chimps are in it?
What's that?
How many chimps?
You know what? This would have been a movie where a chimp or two would have been okay because it's about an eccentric. It's about an eccentric billionaire and his private island, but nary a chimp.
I'm out.
There's vipers throughout.
You know how you rate your movies on fun scale? I'm scale.
Chimp scale. I just like now considering all movies through the lens of this could have used a chimp.
That's what I say about farts.
Yeah. It's always better.
Walking about like a movie, like let's say a comedy, and be like, you know what, I like the movie, but there should have been more farting. That's why I don't think anyone's ever said that. That's why I don't think farts should be in any movie, because I don't think anyone needed more or wanted them in the movie to begin with. You
know? Blink Twice stars Naomi Aki, Channing Tatum, Aaliyah. Hold on, fuck this. I always get that wrong. Brighten this up so I can fucking read it. There we go. Aaliyah Shawkat. I think it's Shawkat. Adriana Arona. Fuck. Kristen Slater. I got that one. Simon Rex. Haley Joel Osment. Gina Davis. And Kyle MacLachlan has a small part in this. 76% Rotten Tomatoes. Feels about right, because I was like you, Anderson. I was dreading Blink Twice. The trailer wasn't doing it for me. Felt by the numbers, but I went to sort of the dive, and I perhaps because of my low expectations, I found this to be a perfectly fine 3-star, possibly even good thriller. I don't think it's so good that people have to rush out and see it, but this would be a great stream when like Halloween comes. I assume that's the plan, right? This will be streaming by the end of October, and it's a solid thriller. It's a movie that probably you could watch with like a date if you wanted a good scare. Like
I get exactly what kind of movie you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. It's not
good. I don't want to denigrate it. I just it's exceeded my expectations.
Not the kind of movie that you would necessarily cite often, or it went down smooth enough. It was entertaining. It did its job.
It's good for a Halloween date night. Little coziness with the candies and the candles and some wine.
Okay. Premise. You're aware of the premise. Eccentric billionaire Channing Tatum invites the main character and her friend to his private island where crazy things may or may not be happening. It's clearly inspired, at least in part, by Epstein Island. In fact, the working title of this was Pussy Island. They went with Blink Twice, maybe a smart move, marketing wise. But
did he make his money with tech?
It's never clear how he made his money. Actually, I don't think it's ever actually
self-made man, or was he born into it? Because that makes a difference.
I believe Bitcoin is referenced, but I don't know how he got his money. That said, the movie went farther than I thought in terms of pushing the envelope and maybe being a little edgy. That said, I think Avery read one of the listener reviews, which said didn't maybe go far enough. I agree. This could have been a very dark, very disturbing, very memorable movie. As it is, it's kind of dark and kind of disturbing and kind of memorable. You know what I mean? It's also inspired, I believe, by Get Out. It's got some Get Out elements in the sense that not supernatural, but things are happening that maybe wouldn't happen in the real world, but for the sake of this plot and this story, they have to happen. So there's that element. I'm trying to give away too much, obviously.
M. Night Shyamalan style.
Bordering on that. Yeah. Bordering on that.
This would never happen, but for the sake of the story, let's just give us this.
And I will say that
next scene, the same thing. We'll ask you to give us that too, and then a couple things later. But hey, this is enough for Florence, right? And Florence is a pretty tough critic as far as not pulling punches.
Actually, I think Florence would like this.
But she did.
She did. We heard from her.
Oh, that was her. Fuck, I tuned out when I heard for who the
piece of shit
the accreditation was. Sorry, Florence. That said, the most impressive thing to me, I believe Zoe Kravitz was a first-time filmmaker, if I'm not mistaken, was the female performances. Like, they really are good, and it shows that it was directed by Zoe Kravitz. Like, the female leads in particular were very good. So better than I thought. Worth a stream around Halloween. Solid thriller. Nothing outstanding, but good. The
All
end.
right. The end. Fantastic, Brian. Thank you. Thank you for taking one. I don't know if I needed to see that. I'm very happy that I spent my time watching something different.
It would not be a waste of your time if you were to stream this at some point. That said, I can't say like, oh, Anderson, this is going to be a contender for the Vaulty. It's not.
It's just another one of those filler movies that probably good, right?
It's good. It's above average for sure.
Hey, I just found a monkey angle with this one. In Foxcatcher, Channing played like a monkey-like man.
That is true.
I think
I will say,
after apes for that role.
I don't know if I buy Channing Tatum as just, I know he's a handsome fellow. I don't know if I buy him as the leading man. I've always liked him best when he was like in 21 Jump Street or in Deadpool and Wolverine when he's playing a different type of character. This sort of more straightforward leading man type. I don't know. I didn't ring true.
I saw film.
Should we take a quick break? Should we break a little bit?
Take a quick break.
Coming up next, we'll find out the movie Anderson saw after this. We're back. All right, buddy. What'd you see?
I saw a movie called Strange Darling, which I think
could have guessed that.
The weakest thing with Strange Darling might be the title. I don't love the title. The title is very forgettable, and I can see myself a few years from now, maybe even this year now with the age coming. Age is coming fast. But trying to recall the title of the movie, I don't like it. It could have been called Mr. Snuffleupagus. It could have been called something else that I could see some people thinking that gives too much away, so I won't call it that. Can you help me, please? Would have been a nice title. These are all titles of the chapters. There's 6 chapters in this movie. I should tell you, too, that it is directed by a man named J.T. Molnar. Yes, you have not heard of him. He's made one feature-length movie before this, which didn't get a whole lot of attention.
I loved it.
Or love. But a number of shorts, and he has decided to make something a little different. And I think we can just kind of watch Gallner too and see what he's doing, because I think that he's only taking chances at this point in his career. It seems like he wants to be in interesting projects, and this one is interesting. You do not know what's coming. It does subvert expectation all throughout the movie, not just from the time you sit down. So it's a romance thriller horror movie, and it's told in chapters out of order to keep you off balance and keep you guessing. It's a puzzle of a movie. Right? Like you know that you're watching a chapter later in the film, and that's going to circle back so you can see how that thing that you're seeing right there on the ground got there, and you are privy to and awarded with fantastic performances. There's pretty much, it's a two-hander for most of the movie, and then there's a couple other people that get introduced. Ed Begley Jr. and Barbara Hershey are in this movie, and we get a couple others before the whole thing's done. But for the most part, it's just Kyle Gellner and Willa Fitzgerald, who she's been in a bunch of things, and I looked at her credits, and they're all things that I have not seen, with the exception of House of Cards, and she's in 2 episodes of that, and I didn't even watch the end of House of Cards, I don't think. So I don't know if I've ever seen her on screen before. The use of the score in this is it's swinging for the fences, and for me, it connects. I absolutely love the score, and the way that it came off in the theater, watching this in the theater. It's funny because it's not a big action set piece, right? It's not one of these big tragic, huge Geostorm type movies where you think you gotta see it on the big screen. But I do think that this movie was made for the big screen. I think that they use every single piece of the screen that they can to elicit reaction, goodness, and also just the characters and the performances really shine through. And I should say that Ribishi, he was the cinematographer, which might be one of the leading stories in this when people are talking about this. But I thought it might be not even a gimmick, but like, oh yeah, look at Ribishi can shoot something. Every chance that he took worked for the movie. It wasn't like, oh, he's just doing this to make just to show that he can. I absolutely love this movie. Yes, I haven't really gone through my full list, but I think that it's probably going to be the top of my list so far this year.
Really?
Now, a couple things that It is.
It's gonna be on top of your list.
I think right now it's the best movie I've seen all year.
Wow.
Fuck.
Now it opens up.
I need to see.
And I was supposed to see it. I was supposed to see it at the Academy as well as with our boy Scott, but I bailed out because the wife had me doing stuff. So I ended up seeing it in a shittier theater out here.
Tabbed out.
Absolutely worked. The first thing you see really rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm like, I don't know if this movie is gonna be able to recover. It's the very first thing you see, and I remember I got angry, and I'm like, I don't know if this movie is going to recover from this. It's the first thing you see is this film was shot entirely on 35 millimeter.
Oh shit.
I'm like, okay,
Yes.
what? I don't need to see that. You film nerds. You
please, Avery, remind me, please. I forgot to describe the first thing we see with Blink's wife. Back to Anderson.
And then the next thing you see is you hear Jason Patrick doing like a true crime narrator reading the scroll, which is letting us know what we're about to bear witness to, which is just a bunch of malarkey about a serial killer in the Pacific Northwest and Idaho, and this serial killer wreaked havoc, and we're about to see a reenactment of what that was, leading you to believe that this is an actual true life thing, which I don't think was necessary. It was a stylistic choice, but guess it maybe got you in the mood. But this movie is vibey and exciting and raw and fun, and she's like, I seem to say this every 2-3 months, but like Willa Fitzgerald, like Jesus, like where are they hiding her? Like she's so good. She's so good. She's got like a Timothy Chalamet moment at one point in the movie, at the very end of Call Me by Your Name, if you remember, like him looking in the fireplace and just acting his balls off as the end credits rolled over his face. Remember that?
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, we're describing, yes.
Willa's got one of these, and this is a movie that's going to be, tragically overlooked at the Academy. Maybe they, they're young enough to like appreciate what Rubici did if they put enough money behind the campaign. Maybe he's up for best EP, but this is like a movie that won't be up for Academy Awards, and it doesn't need to be fucking brilliant. It's a great movie.
I'm in.
So much fun.
Even though it sounds confusing, I'm in.
The out of order, which really adds a lot to. Now, some people might come out and like they did the same thing with Memento, and I'm one of those people. Which is, if you just told it linear, I don't know if this movie has the same kind of impact. And you know what? It wouldn't. But I don't think it was written linear. Then they went back to try and make it interesting. I think it was written this way on purpose.
With the serial killer element, did you get out of this what you were hoping to get out of Long Legs in terms of goodness?
I like this quite a bit more than Long Legs. Now, for two different,
but they're very different.
I mean, they definitely share some DNA, but this one's more. And like I get, like, this is one of those movies where like True Romance. Like when I watch True Romance, I remember in the theater when I was watching it made me feel like I was on stimulants. Like I was jacked up. This movie jacks you up. The score,
I
really
love that.
Performances, what you're seeing, what's going down on the screen.
Can I leave this show and go see that now?
You can do that. I think you might be better served. Yeah.
We're gonna learn a lot more.
Really, really like this movie. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think I have. It completely recovered from that. This film was shot entirely on 35 millimeter film. Didn't need it. I understand that JT, the director, as well as Rubici, obviously, they're proponents of shooting on film. So am I. A lot of people are. I don't think that's going to help it. Maybe it will. I don't know. You know what's funny too, guys, is the other day we were flipping around Tubi, and just to mess with Atticus and just show him, because he's still trying to understand TV, and it's so different trying to get your kids to understand TV and what's going on. I typed in Groupers to show him that Groupers was on there, and it began, and I forgot that, I got my distributor's logo on there, which, say what you want, no one's ever heard of global digital releases, I think that's what it's called. And then it goes into something that my distributor like kind of demanded, and I really wish that I said fuck you.
This movie was not shot on 35 millimeter.
No, it says Groupers. Like he was afraid that the title was too confusing, so he wanted to put a joke at the front, which is Groupers are a fish that change sexes later in life, and then it fades to black, and then it comes back and it says they're also a deep water dwelling fish. And then the movie starts, and I just fucking hate that. I hate it.
Wait, I'm sorry. That was the joke?
Explain the joke.
it was like a sexuality thing, and then it's also a fish, which everyone knows. I guess I don't even know. There's no need for it to be there. It gives me a bad taste in my mouth right off the fucking bat, and it's enough to make me want to just like once my contract is up in like a year, I'm probably gonna take the movie back and take it down and try and I don't know. I don't like that shit being on.
So that was
You're gonna,
added. That was
you're
added.
gonna do,
You spend
Grouper's Andy's version.
you spend so much. It's just all I do is remove that. You spend so much time and energy and like, years and years to go into it, and then somebody who you have signed on with makes demands after you sign, and like now that's the first thing that everyone sees. Thank God I won the poster battle. The poster was one day face that poster and show what was being pitched to me as a poster for the fucking movie. It was on. It looked like gay porn. Like,
I mean, you sort of made gay porn.
Yeah, but I don't want that to be the first thing you see. All right.
Yeah, that's a slow burn anyway.
He wants to sucker him in.
That's
a little rope a dope.
That's
right. All right, go see Mr. Snuffleupagus. It's good.
I will say that the thing I forgot to say, which is Blink Twice was the first film I've ever seen. I don't know if this is commonplace now amongst certain movies, but the first film I ever seen that starts off, they have like, this is TVMA, contains smoking or whatever. Little warnings in the corner. This is the first film I ever seen that started off with a trigger warning. A trigger warning for people who may be set off by visions of abuse, visions of abuse of a sexual nature, which
really?
I've never seen that. I mean, it's kind of justified, but there are many, many movies that would justify a trigger warning.
Oh, yeah.
Than this. Anderson, our next top 5 next week. Top 5 movies that should have had a trigger warning.
Well, I always go to Irreversible, but I think it did. I got the box office. They had a trigger warning.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah. You know what? If I really believed that these pricks that run things actually had a heart and cared, I'd be like, yeah, so what? What are you going to do? Like, you're trying to help people out. But I know it's just they're trying to get ahead of lawsuits. So fuck them.
I feel like in this sense, maybe Zoe Kravitz insisted upon it. It feels very deliberate. I don't know.
I mean, if you're going to see a horror / thriller, I don't know, maybe you don't know the nature of it. It
also feels aimed at people that don't go to see a lot of movies. You know what I mean? Like
on TV a lot. Like when I'm watching like Rick and Morty, like if there's suicide talk in there, they'll let you know at the top.
But it's a very TV thing, and I wonder if it's because of ease of being able to turn it off, where you can just go, not for me. Whereas like a movie, you already drove down there, bought the ticket, got your popcorn.
Hey, what are you gonna do? Do they have people who are marching out to the lobby with their popcorn? I like my money back. Don't want to get triggered.
I'm triggered. I'm not making fun of the people who are. I'm simply saying it was
interesting that you saw this at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a room for a site where you can go and figure out if movies are for you or for not you, depending on what if they're triggers or not. Like trigger warnings, and then they have like almost like it's like a parent guide for adults.
Do you want to get into the movie we're assigned?
Sure, let's do it.
The Speed Cubers, 2020 film short documentary, directed by Sue Kim, 100% Rotten Tomatoes. This is streaming on Netflix.
The Bryan Constant right there.
What's that?
That's a Bryan Constant, right? Because it's 39.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's way below. 39 minutes long. This is a very easy lift. And tell me again who assigned it to us.
Jonathan Mooser. Let me read you his notes. I'm going above and beyond for Jonathan Mooser. I'm not sure why. He's a good guy. I talked to him earlier today, and he supports the program. And
he's all right.
We're watching a short film for him, as well as another shorter movie for him later in the year. Also, he got back to me, so that's one of the reasons why we're seeing another one of his movies so quickly. So I'm giving him a whole lot of love here with the short movie. As well as his notes. Here's what he had to say. He said, well, why do I think Anderson, Bryan, and most Film Vault listeners would like the Speed Cubers? First of all, 39 minutes, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's absolutely obliterates the Bishop Constant. I'm reading it for the first time, and I just said exactly that. So he goes on to say, more specifically, despite its short length, the Speed Cubers manages to check all the boxes that you want from this kind of nerd sport documentary like King of Kong or Spellbound. You get a glimpse into a world that's much bigger and more complex than you might have imagined. I feel like we should talk about it, and then I'll read the rest of this.
Okay. This follows two main characters, Max, who is autistic. He's 17, but they describe him, his parents say emotionally, he's around 7 or 8. And
He
then
said
Felix,
9 too. He got up to 9, and I was thinking like this dad doesn't know what a 9-year-old is like because he's never had a normal 9-year-old. So I was
that's
thinking,
true.
I'm guessing more like 5 or 6 as far as emotions go.
So there's Max, and there's also Felix. Felix is an Australian gentleman. He was an early champion of speed cubing, that is solving Rubik's cubes in record time. And Max has since usurped many of his records. They are friendly, but they are also competitors. And this follows their path to the world championships. I really actually this could have been a longer movie. Like they could have chosen to follow another person or two, because I wanted more. I found myself after 39 minutes wanting a little bit more.
Mooser goes on to say more in his notes to us about exactly that, and we also talked about that earlier today when we discussed it. And I have a theory. Well, it's a hypothesis. I have no idea if I'm right or wrong. There might be nothing to this, but
Take it from me. Just pretend you're right.
my idea is that they set out to document, much like Spellbound. You know, they probably did follow around. I would like to think that they followed around a number of the competitors and the ones that were most likely to win the big championship. And then when they saw what Felix and Max had cooking, they decided to boil it down to just the two of them, because that relationship was so, at lack of a better word here, it was just special. It was
great.
It was so fucking heartwarming and sweet and kind and genuine. And I think they could have made a full, 80, 90-minute documentary with just that. But maybe when they're done with everything, they're like, we just don't have enough footage to stretch it out into a full feature length. So let's just go with the strength. And they didn't want to, because without giving anything away, I'm sure that they could have had more storylines, but I think that this relationship, which ultimately the movie becomes about, would have gotten lost in the actual competition and the other competitors.
That's potentially true. I did like you alluded to, the inversion of the trope you normally see, which is rivals, enemies, et cetera, et cetera. These guys were competitors, but they were genuinely affectionate of each other, and it was very sweet.
So Felix is this Australian cat who's really, really good at Rubik's cubes, all forms, whether it's the 2 side, the 3 side, which is the big one, right? That's the one, the original one, and that's the one that you want to.
The 3x3 is the traditional one, but they go to much bigger ones.
They go to much bigger ones, which you would think would be like a bigger crown, a bigger trophy, but no, they all want to win what they consider the crowning achievement is to win the 3x3. And he's been just a sensation at this. Felix is this Australian kid. And then one day he's like, somebody sends him a clip, or he sees on YouTube this kid trying to beat his record with like one hand and just crushing it. And he's like, who is this kid? And it turns out that kid is Max, who is much younger than he is. And he is got autism, it turns out. And instead of Felix going like getting threatened and being like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" He takes him under his wing and realizes the control and the influence he has on him, and realizes he can have a good positive influence on him and help Max as well as his parents. And he's genuinely happy for Max as Max continues to climb the ranks and ultimately surpass Felix. And you can tell that he's not just putting it on. Felix is just one of those really, really good human beings. And
and you alluded to it. Let me jump in real quick. There was a nice element of this where the parents are all normal and you like them all. They're not crazy, what's the one we liked with the athletes that were like trophy kids. The parents are all very likable.
I didn't see that, but this movie is just like that movie. I can tell you that.
You didn't see trophy kids?
No. Hey, I got choked up at least 3 times. And, obviously Felix and how he is with Max. But I think where I really lost it and was happy that I was in the room by myself when I was watching this part was where Max was on a podium and his parents are, you can hear their VO over it saying it's the first time that he'd ever actually taken cues from other people to see what was normal and what he should be doing. And he's looking at the guy that got second, the guy that got third on either side of him, and the way that they're holding their little trophies and awards. And then he repositions everything, puts everything down. It's very awkward, but he puts everything down and then repositions it so it's just like they are. Like, so he fits in. And they said that his parents said that they had never seen that before. And there was just something so touching and heartbreaking and sweet all at the same time. It's a really, really good movie, guys. 40 minutes of your time. Watch it with your kids if they're old enough. I wanted Atticus to watch this. He kind of tapped out because he's too young. But this is just a movie that I think more people should see. It's, competition at its best, where you're really supporting others, especially deserving others.
Agreed. This is a very easy watch and a very good watch. So enjoy. Thank you, Moose. I'm going to call Jonathan Moose or Moose.
I call him Moose.
Mooster, the Moose-meister.
Moose.
Oh, I got a quick interlude.
Hmm.
I saw a film.
Oh, is this the sniff-worthy one?
4K.
The Academy Museum. I don't know how sniff-worthy it actually is, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I had never seen, never heard of 1995's Devil in a Blue Dress with Denzel Washington.
Never saw it. Heard of that? How have you never heard of that? Oh, you're young.
I don't know. I saw the poster, I think, a couple times in my research as a youngin', and it made me want to stab my eyes out with chopsticks. I had no interest.
Look forward.
And I was fucking wrong. This is a tremendous movie. It's I really like noir films. I'm a big fan of those. So this is set in the 40s. Denzel is in a traditionally black neighborhood in Los Angeles in the 40s, and he is trying to solve the disappearance of a rich lady about town, the former fiance of the mayor, and his performance along with Don Cheadle's is just fucking astounding. And it also, if you're somebody who really geeks out on seeing Los Angeles and feeling like you're trawling around parts of the city that you may not have seen, or seeing LA like what it was like in the past, this does a really good job of portraying LA accurately. This was part of the series at the Academy Museum, like Summer in LA, where it's all about them, like movies that portray what summer is like in Los Angeles and being faithful to that idea. And I really, really like this movie. I think really solid performances. Jennifer Beals is phenomenal. So I would say if you've not taken the chance, you'd like a little Denzel in your life, want to see Don Cheadle just fucking crushing it. The young Don, highly recommend Devil in a Blue Dress.
I feel
Very
like,
enjoyable.
without any evidence whatsoever, I feel like this got sort of overwhelmed by LA Confidential, which was
Probably,
the same year, and also a noir film. I don't feel like the public maybe appetite for both, but yeah, I never saw it.
It was excellent. Really enjoyable.
I saw it in the theaters, and I remember being underwhelmed, but I don't think I appreciated it. I was also underwhelmed by LA Confidential, just so full disclosure. So, I mean, I don't know how to appreciate a good noir film. It's rare.
And I think that's part of it, too. If you're not a noir person, this will not change your mind. But if you're somebody who likes movies like LA Confidential, The Long Goodbye, that sort of thing, you will absolutely love this. Check it out.
All right. Thanks for the quick interlude there, Avery. And now, Brian, what else you got?
I have nothing. We got a movie together that I signed you.
Oh, okay. So we want to do this together. Let's do it. Let's do Idea Man.
Go for it.
Idea Man, a documentary that Brian assigned me. It's about Jim Henson.
The title, if you're looking for it, is Jim Henson: Idea Man.
Yes. Go ahead, Brian. Take it away.
Well, usually the person who was assigned the film gets to do this, but it was directed by Ron Howard, which I did not even realize until I started to watch the movie. 100% Rotten Tomatoes. This is streaming on Disney Plus, and yes, it is about the legendary Jim Henson.
Yeah, it was good. It was pretty good. You get to see, where he came from and stuff, and learn about his family.
Maybe a little bit of impact undercut by the fact that we saw and liked Street Gang so recently, whatever it was, 4 or 5 years.
Oh, I like this one more. I'm
really?
Yeah, this movie. Speaking of vibey, this movie is very
I did too, actually.
This movie is very earthy. This movie gives you a good sense of not only Jim Henson, but where the Muppets came from. You know me, I'm not a giant Muppet fan. I loved Sesame Street. I was raised on Sesame Street. I love them, but I never took the leap. I felt like kid stuff, and the Muppets just kind of seems corny and goofy to me. I know that a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate to hear anyone say such a thing. That's just me personally. That said, I understand and I appreciate how much went into that, and seeing the crazy fucks that did that from the ground up was very, very interesting. You got a really good sense of who Jim Henson was. You also see the tragic side of how it kind of cost him his personal life, and he was one of those guys where he probably should have never had a family. He should have just created. He ultimately would have, if he could just continue to create. Like he kind of created the sphere. Did you pick up on that with the thing that he wanted to do with the nightclub and all the different like lights that were going to be around that were going to make images and stuff in the dome? Like he didn't get to go off and do that, but it was a very low rent sphere that he was kind of creating back in the 70s.
Yeah, it was what you're alluding to. I picked up on was there is maybe a unaddressed sort of underlying neglect, you know what I mean, to the ones he loved in favor of creating, for the world. We're all the better for it, but I imagine it was tough to be in his family.
And the man is just, I mean,
He wasn't a bad guy. It wasn't abusive, but
no, not at all.
The Muppet Sesame Street
Muppets
came first.
Yeah, the Muppets came first, and also they nothing came first to progress with this guy. Like he had comfortable gigs, and he realized when to hang it up. Like 5 years into the Muppets, which was a smashing success, he's like, you know what? I don't want to start repeating myself. I want to go do something. I want to push the envelope. I want to push myself, and that's when he went on to do the Dark Crystal. That kind of guts does not exist very often in many people, and it existed in tenfold in this guy. And that I think that's evident in watching this. It's an inspiration for people who do want to push themselves outside their comfort zone. One of my favorite parts was when Nixon handed him the Emmy, and I guess that Nixon said something to him. Did you pick up on this part?
No.
And Nixon, it was weird seeing Nixon and Jim Henson in the same space.
Why was he giving out Emmys? Why was Nixon
a different time? But Nixon handed him his Emmy. I think it's because it was for like PBS, and it was
I see.
It was a government like
yeah.
So he hands him his Emmy, and Richard Nixon he didn't know what to say to this bearded hippie who makes sock puppets for a living, right? So he leans in, and here's what Jim Henson said that he said. Jim Nixon and Richard Nixon says to Jim Henson, "I knew a man in the Navy with a beard." That's what he had to say as he handed him his Emmy. That's all he had.
Oh, fuck!
I knew a man in the Navy who had a beard.
I forgot about that.
Oh, it's like your dad's friend who doesn't know how to make conversation. Oh, Jesus.
It was really interesting, though. I just assumed that the Muppets, kind of, or what everyone wanted, and they wanted more of. To hear that he got rejected time and time again by all the big studios, and
yeah, that was shocking.
And then he had to get, it was England that picked him up, and they all had to
London.
England. I had no idea that they were shooting all that stuff across the pond, as they say. So a lot of really interesting stuff. Great vibe. A whole lot of source footage, as you imagine. They have his grown kids, talking about it and how he wasn't around a lot, which kind of breaks my heart. Just because I hate to say it, Brian, but I just love being like a family man and a dad more than anything else. Like as Abby as that sounds, like I just can't imagine leaving my family. As much as I love creating and making movies, I want to be able to leave my family. It's just not.
That sounds great.
I mean, just don't get a show in London.
He has something more than I have. Did Steve Jobs want to be him? Was that a big influence? Because I got a lot of Steve Jobs vibes out of it.
I think they're similar people, but I don't believe. Well, I don't know, but I don't think there was a big influence.
And then PBS, did they? Here's my question: chicken or the egg type thing. Two of the most remarkable creators, personalities, public personalities that have come out of the last 50 years, I'd say, are Jim Henson and Fred Rogers. Did PBS help create them and foster them, or did they discover them?
So my recollection, now you saw the movie more recently than I did, but at least with Jim Henson, he was out there doing stuff. He was in puppet shows. He was attracting a little bit of a following, and they, PBS, to their credit, identified this guy as a real creative force, and were like, hey, do whatever you want. I mean, with exceptions, of course, but like, hey, you're in charge, make a show for the kids. So yeah. I think in that respect, it's to their credit, they identified a genius. They're like, hey, take the reins.
And to add on to that, also Bob Ross as well on the old PBS.
Oh, distant third.
Painting guy, he's great. You gotta love Bob Ross. Okay. America's Dad.
Oh,
I only know Bob Ross. Ironically, I never saw him on the air. I never saw him on TV until I was
true delight.
In my 20s, and had like videos were making the rounds.
No, he's a great man.
I believe you.
I really don't know how to make my stupid text not come through. So apologies.
No one can hear that.
Nope. Everyone heard except for you.
No one can hear it.
I quit messages, and it still demands to come through. It still
I will stake my next paycheck.
Yeah.
The fact that
I'll
no
stake
one
my
heard
good
it.
reputation on the fact that no one can hear.
And
All right,
and
we're
I, know
good.
I could do not disturb on my work phone, but my work phone's in the other room. So hopefully no one starts chiming me again. So
All right.
I can't believe
Idea,
that happened till
Idea
now.
Man gets a recommendation from me.
Yes, and from me as well. Idea Man, it's streaming on Prime. I think it's on Prime.
Disney.
Disney, that's right, Disney. Yes, very very good movie, and it's crunchy and it's sweet, and it's like it takes you back. It's a vibey movie, right?
Feels very genuine.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Coming up next, we will go over some on-set deaths. Oh, fun after this. Oh, Anderson, am I excited?
Factor.
I got my first Factor delivery coming to me after we get back from being out of town on Labor Day. I'll get back and Factor will be there for me with I chose the Protein Plus. I'm very excited to see what that entails.
You still have not tasted Factor, Bryan.
I know it's too much
Shut your mouth
traveling, too
then.
much
You don't
stuff.
know. You don't know. You don't know. The taste is amazing. It's all fresh. It's not frozen. It's low calorie, high like substance and quality. And you just put it in the microwave. They're like 2.5 minutes. And
Oh,
what I was doing is I was taking it out of the plastic tray after cooking it, putting it on a plate, and it's magnificent, healthy, good food. I never felt tired afterwards. It's really, really, really good with no time to prepare other than the 2.5 minutes in the microwave. And it does not taste like microwave food at all. I'm not just saying this. This is amazing tasting food.
I love what you're saying. I'm looking forward to my first delivery. You guys can head to factormeals.com/vault5050 and use code vault50. That's vault50 to get 50 being 50 to get 50% off your first box with 20% off your first month. Sorry, your next month. That's code vault50 at factormeals.com/vault50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off the next month while your subscription is active. Welcome back. Time to count down some on-set movie deaths. Anderson, why are you so excited about this?
I'm not.
I think you were off air. You were saying you thought it was really, really funny, and you wanted to bring some levity to the program, right?
Yeah, I'm that tone deaf to everything. No, I just explained that I was not enjoying reading about all of these maimings and burns and broken bones and deaths and so many people. Just the amount of heart attacks that happened on sets.
I know.
And it makes sense because sets are filled with lots and lots of people, and it's a big industry, and obviously deaths are going to happen, but they're not even all accidents. Sometimes people just died while they're working.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this dude drowned. How? He had a heart attack underwater.
So there's so many. I mean, you should see the Wikipedia page. It's like, I don't know, 20 pages long of just all the accounts and whatnot. I just ranked mine with the most at the top, and I found some other interesting things. I don't have like any of the big ones that we all know about, like Ben-Hur, The Crow, Twilight Zone, or Rust. I don't know how to rank them other than just the amount. Because what are you gonna do? Like the most interesting, or
I did mine oldest and newest.
okay. I like that. I have this fun one, and this is kind of fun, even though it's magic, and it is TV, so I'm not going to go too in depth with it. But you know how comedian Red Fox died?
No.
I never heard this before until doing the research this week. I don't know how this isn't common knowledge. Avery, you know how comedian Red Fox died?
Shoot didn't know.
No, not at all.
You think? Shoot, didn't know, but you think your dad might know?
Oh, I'm sure he does.
So, Red Fox, best known for Sanford and Son, he died while rehearsing for a scene in the royal family. That was the episode, and his character.
The episode of the show.
The episode. Oh, is there a show called The Royal Family?
I have no idea.
I think it was the title of the show. Maybe it's something else that he did later after Sanford and Son. But his character in Sanford and Son was known for faking heart attacks.
Yeah. I'm coming. Whatever. Grab his chest.
He did that while rehearsing, and everyone's just standing around watching him and laughing as he was having a real heart attack and dying in front of them.
Jesus.
Fun.
Uncomfortable. What if your bit was like fake drowning? God, that'd be sad.
Oh my God, it's a terrible bit. It's a terrible bit. Atticus does that. He goes, Dad, is this a dead man's foot? I'm like, yes, but he stopped doing that.
Don't do that.
I hate looking at it. Stop it. And then he knows that I hate it, and he's got a little bit of me in him, so he has to do more. I'm like, all right, dude. I love it. Keep doing it. Yeah, you know what I do?
Everyone relax.
I'm going to get your mom. And then he stops. He's scared of mom.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I'll go first with my oldest selection. It actually is on the heels of my clips for the live show. It is a James Bond movie, again in the snow. I don't know why they keep going back to the snow.
Jesus, can we ban James Bond's?
I know it's been going on for decades.
But in for your eyes only, while filming the film, of course, during one of the most exciting sequences of the movie, a bobsled driven by, hold on, what's his name? Paolo Rigon.
Bobsled team.
Paolo Rigon. Bobsled being driven by that stuntman overturned on the track with Rigon sadly trapped underneath. He got badly injured and later died.
Sad.
Very sad. They were. I read that they were, maybe the filmmakers had seen bobsledding. Were like, oh, that'd be great in a James Bond movie. So they had this guy do it, and sadly, paid with his life.
Hey guys, I just realized what I should do here for this one, for my controversial one, my number 5. I'm going to try and attempt to use the chat. You guys familiar with using the chat in the old?
Yes,
I've
used the chat.
I would like you to click on this link. Take a look at this movie. I've seen this IMDb page before, didn't think much of it, and just kind of went on with my day because I don't zero in on things as often as I should. For the sake of the research for this here episode, I did zero in on the Sam Fuller movie from 1969, starring one Burt Reynolds, and the name of the movie is Shark. Now, the name of the movie was originally Kane. But while shooting the movie in 1968 I believe they were down in Mexico, one of their stuntmen, cameramen actually, was they were shooting with a docile bull shark, which this is awful in unto itself. They took a bull shark, they had a shark handler, and bull sharks are one of the 3 most deadliest sharks. You got the bull shark, the tiger shark over there, and then the great white. Those are the 3 sharks you don't want to fuck with. But they needed a big, mean-looking shark for the scene that they were shooting in this movie called Kane. So they got somebody who knows his way around the sea, and he got his hands on a big bull shark somehow, and he beached it so that it was now nearly drowning, shark style. And then they put it back in the water to shoot, and they're gonna have a real life shark in there, but it wasn't gonna hurt anyone because it was near death because they beached it because they're sons of bitches that don't give a shit. And then
that's very 60s.
Out of the fucking blue comes a great white. And this great white did not give a fuck. He was honey badger style, and he went right through the mesh, the netting that was keeping the cameraman safe. And this great white shark killed the cameraman.
Jesus.
Jeez Louise.
And if you see the poster,
my God, that's what's on the poster?
That's tasteless.
And they decided to they changed the name of the movie from Kane to Shark, and you can read what is there.
Oh my God! What?
The tagline is
that is tasteless.
Shark will rip you apart, right?
What
they have a Life magazine cover or story where you can see the pictures of this man. You can't really see what's going on in the picture, but you can see there's a lot.
You get the idea.
You can see a cloud of blood.
Possibly blood. Maybe they took the red out of it. I don't know. It looks like it's not as red as it should be.
There's some there.
And that was how they decided to publicize and market the movie back in 19.
What the fuck? Did they sue the shit out of them?
Controversial, right? Now here comes the back end controversy.
This would be a good watch along.
Years later, years and years and years later, it had been speculated all along, I guess, as to whether or not there's any validity to this. And somebody finally decided to really do a deep dive and say, hey, why is Life magazine the only one who covered this story? And why, when it was shot down in Mexico, not one Mexican publication picked up the fact that a man was killed while shooting this Hollywood movie? And many years later, Life magazine came out and said, yes, it was a hoax to promote the movie. But people all believed it, and people flocked to go see the movie because they thought they'd see somebody actually get, like, they wanted to go see a snuff movie.
Jesus.
Shark.
Morbid. Isn't Life magazine, don't they pride themselves on like journalistic integrity?
It was a different time.
Different time. They pride themselves on a good story.
That's Sam Fuller. Sam Fuller, of course, did a movie called White Dog, which has some lore back in it from the Film Vault live show. All right. here we go. Going on. So yeah, my number 5.
Unlike Bryan, I'm glad that wasn't real.
Yeah, I'm glad as well. But it was going to be, it had room to be my number 1 if it was. All right. This is before Jaws too. You have to understand this is like 6 years before Jaws. So people didn't know about the big fish. They didn't know much about them, and they were pretty excited to go see a man get ripped apart by one.
Oh, that's exciting.
All right, go ahead, Brian. What's your number 4?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to see something.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, fuck it. All right, never mind. All right, number 4 for me. Sorry for the digression. Number 4, I'm trying to give credit because I got a lot of this info from a particular article. I want to make sure I give credit to it, but I'll look it up in a second. Number 4 for me is when Anderson alluded to not being on his list. It is the inspiration. It is, of course, The Crow, which, have you seen The Crow? The
Yeah.
Brandon Lee one?
I have not. Is it good? I know it's notorious, but
I didn't really care for it one way or the other. It wasn't really made for me.
Well, Brandon Lee, of course, son of Kung Fu legend Bruce Lee, he died when a projectile was fired from a weapon on set at the actor. What happened was there was a piece of bullet still, or a piece of whatever fragment still in the gun being propelled by the blank, and it actually caused enough damage to kill him. Shot at close range.
Right through the bag of groceries he was holding. And it was like towards the end of the movie too. It was like towards the end of shooting. Like it was one of the last things, if I recall. And it was hard to watch the movie and not, the everything surrounding it was so much bigger. Unlike all those years later with The Dark Knight. I mean, that movie, eclipsed all of the drama around the untimely death of Heath Ledger. As tragic as it was, like the movie like stood up on its own, wasn't all about that. But it was hard to watch The Crow as a movie and not just think about, what ultimately happened.
Michael Massey was the actor who actually pulled the trigger. He played a drug dealer named Fun Boy in the film, and he was directed to shoot Brandon Lee during a scene. Of course, he didn't know that the metal tip of a bullet fragment was still in the gun when the dummy rounds were replaced. And so he pulled the trigger as he was told and killed the guy.
Well, there's a new Crow now, so we can all relax. How much they
move on. Brandon Lee's mother sued the film's producers as well as the director Alex Proyas, among others. She and Lee's fiance settled for an undisclosed amount.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories going around. I'm sure that a lot of them survive to this day about, how like Bruce was killed because he knew too much, and then Brandon knew about that, and that's why they killed him, and it was all set up. And yeah,
this was responsible for a lot of reform in terms of how guns are handled on set, right?
Yes, which it's meant to change things, but I don't know how often it does, and I have some examples. All right, so my number 4 is from a film called Noah's Ark from way back in 1928, and there were 3 people died, and one man lost his leg, and a bunch of other people were severely injured when several hundred extras were caught in a great flood. And the deaths were instrumental in introducing the film safety regulations. The film safety regulations said, hey, well, they didn't exist, but then they're like, hey, we're here. We're going to exist now. And we're going to have an office right in the middle of Hollywood to make sure that you guys
we're here.
Schools are not, putting innocent people at risk just to get the shot. So that was Noah's Ark in 1928. My number 3, which will be coming up next, because that's how numbers work, 2 years later, and we'll hear just how ineffective that film safety regulation company was doing.
And this was like the Babylon era, right? This is the era of Babylon.
Yeah, Wild West, almost literally. Yeah.
Jesus.
Shout out to a recent movie that has been making the rounds. Deadpool. There was a stunt person killed on the set of Deadpool 2 in 2018, actually in 2017, August 14th to be exact. Stunt woman Joe Harris, better known as SJ. She was killed during filming a motorcycle chase scene. The motorcycle she was riding turned a corner, lost control, crashed through a glass window, and sadly killed Stonewoman Joe Harris. I do also want to say thank you to the Wrap and also to Cinema Blend. I got a lot of my details, morbid as they are, from there.
Such Men Are Dangerous. Fitting title for the 1930 movie that took 10 lives, Brian and Avery. 10.
Jesus.
Right off the coast of Southern California near Santa Monica. It was January 2nd, 1930, when there was two aircraft that they were both acting as camera planes, and they were trying to get the shot for this Such Men Are Dangerous sequence that they're shooting right off Santa Monica Bay there, and they collided. Both planes collided, and 10 men on board the two planes were killed, including Kenneth Hawks, who was brother of famous director Howard Hawks, one of the five that came back, Brian. Howard Hawks. And assistant director Max Gold died, cinematographers died, Conrad Wells, and it was a big deal. Families of the men who were lost took legal action, as so often is the case, and Fox Film Company, but Fox Film Company got off the hook. Courts ruled in favor of the company. How? I don't
Well,
know.
like some bullshit contract, like, you signed your rights away.
Yeah. Whatever happens.
Such Men Are Dangerous, 1930, 10 lives.
Yeah, I think what underscores all these lists is, like I alluded to earlier, no matter how bad the tragedy, you'll usually see the movie. I mean, the movie will be seen. You know what I mean? It'll be released. It'll be.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure out what to do with Rust. I don't know what the latest is on that, but I do think that they are planning on releasing it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of noise, at least for one day on Twitter when that happens.
Indeed. All right, Amazon.
Noah's Ark that someone lost their leg as well. We can't forget the leg.
You mentioned that, yes.
Probably buried in a potter's grave somewhere. So let's pay tribute.
All right, Amazon next. Then after that, I'll give you a tease, Anderson. My two movies at the top, 1 and 2, no one's ever seen. I'll tell what they are next.
That clown movie?
Safe. Yes, it's The Day the Clown Cried. My number one. Thank you guys for supporting the show and continuing to tap the Amazon link as you do. We appreciate it. It's awesome. And we're going to hit our bonus again this month, most likely. We're right there. So thanks, guys. You're really doing an awesome job. We can't ask for much more. Things purchased on that Amazon banner. The aforementioned Amazon banner, AndersonandBryan.com include 3 Sonnet Thunderbolt single slot card readers, 2 Sony memory card readers, and 2 CF Express memory card readers. Thanks for using us to get those. 2 Thomas & Betts crimping tool, 1 Samsung 55-inch 4K Crystal UHD smart TV, Acer Chromebook Plus was picked up. Someone got themselves a Casio Men's G-Shock Rangeman watch. EGO Power Plus bristle brush attachment. iRobot Roomba combo vacuum and mop. Brother multifunction laser printer was picked up, as was a Brother printer toner cartridge. CalDigit Thunderbolt 3 dock. Fitbit Versa for fitness smartwatch.
You did it.
No, I don't think you did it well. Take 2. Cut this out. Fitbit Versa 4 fitness smartwatch. There you go. Beat Bros Pandora Treasure arcade game console. Beat Bros Pandora Treasure arcade game console. There's a lot of words out there. 3 Samsung fridge water filters. 2 New Wave precision induction cooktops. Jean-Paul Gaultier La Main et de Toilette Spray. I think I got that right. Olight Ackfield rechargeable flashlight.
I don't want toilet spray, right? I know it's supposed to be.
It is weird that the perfume and cologne have the word toilet in there. But we're stupid Americans. Anchor USB-C hub. Streamlight Wedge everyday carry flashlight. uHomey, EUHOMY, uHomey countertop ice maker. Maku Health carotenoid formula I vitamins, Amazon smart thermostat, international power converter travel kit, and finally, Ulanzi camera desk mount stand. Nailed it.
L'armée de hombres. English subtitle. Thank you for clicking through and getting that.
Easy for you to say.
L'armée de hombres. I think I said it right. L'armée de hombres. It's the army of hombres, Brian. Is that men? Does that mean men?
Yes, army of men in French.
Highlander was clicked through, as well as The Elephant Man. Elefante. Hombre. Oddity was clicked through. Hey, look, we can click through now and watch the old Oddity. Finally, Avery, we can watch that. Ghostlight was clicked through, as well as Long Legs. Oh, I'm sorry. It's because I didn't wear my long legs. That was the best part of the movie. That was the best part.
I didn't wear my long legs. Yeah, it's great.
It's the best part. And then I'm like, hail Satan.
There's a goddamn, if you took the time to do another pass at this script, there's a 5-star film in there. There's a 5-star goddamn film.
I'm sad to say I don't
homage.
remember much about Long Legs.
An homage to, like, horror Satan movies from the past. I'm not quite sure what they were aiming at. I don't know what they were aiming at. I didn't hate it. It was just kind of like odd, and not odd in a fun way.
Or the oddity way.
Oh, I don't know. We haven't seen the old Oddity over there. Rushmore was clicked through. The Criterion Collection. Kindergarten Cop. You know what? I'm gonna take a swing and watch Kindergarten Cop one of these days, real soon with the boy. I'm gonna watch.
You know what?
Kindergarten Cop.
So be careful, because as I recall, there's like a weird drug subplot before it gets all fun and kid-like.
Yeah. I remember that part. I'm trying to get a manicure. Yeah, he can. It's all right if he sees drug dealers getting theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then Drive was clicked through. 4K Ultra HD Steelbook. Thank you very much.
He can see that
and appreciate Drive. What now?
Daddy, what
Daddy
happened in the elevator?
So I was doing a little business.
Why is his arm turning red, Daddy?
Guys, I was at a smoke shop buying some cigarillos, if you must know, some of those little Clint Eastwood cigars, and place is
Cigarillos.
Cigarillos. The place that I went to literally shares a wall with Vincenzo's, which is where they shot the little little Nino's. I think it's the name of the restaurant in Drive, where the fork and the spork and the eyeball and all that stuff happens. They shoot a lot of shit at that location. And I'm talking to the guy behind the counter, and I love like little trivia, and I love like making people's day. Like I know it would make my day if I worked at this place, and I was in such close proximity to like Hollywood history. So I'm like, hey, man, you like the movie Drive? He's like, oh, I love Drive. I've seen it a bunch of times. I'm like, hey, place right next door. That's where they shot. And he's like, oh, cool. And he just went about his day. He did not care. Did not care.
You should be more impressed.
I was so crestfallen. Like, really, that's awesome, man. He was just like, oh, that's cool. Some people just don't give a shit about that, and it's weird to me. It's weird.
Tyler's one of them.
We live a couple blocks away from where the ET, one of the most famous things in all of movies, where the ET like goes over the cops, and they have their little guns or walkie-talkies.
Their flashlights.
And walkie-talkies. And I tell people that, and about half the time they don't give a shit. Half the time they're like, really? Or half the time they're like, oh, I know. That was 3 halves. But either way. All right. Enough of that aside. I'm back to the program.
For a guy with a hard out, you sort of verbose.
What?
No.
The hard on what?
For a guy with a hard out, you sure are verbose.
Hard attitude?
For a guy with a hard
out.
Verbose, I am. Yeah, I know. But hey, we only got 2 left each. Let's go.
That's a good point. Number 2 for me on set.
Wait, are we back? Did we say we're back?
Yeah, we're back.
No, all right. Let's come back here.
Yeah, we're back. All right. Number 2 for me on set death is a movie interview. Have you ever wondered? I didn't wonder about this till I was doing the research. It was like, oh yeah, whatever happened to the director of Bottle Shock? Why did he make a really good movie and then really hasn't worked much in the last 10 years?
For Bottle Shock guy, where'd he go?
Do you want to know?
No, I'm good actually. Let's just move on.
Okay, number 2 for you. The Bottle Shock director. I should have his name right here in front of me. Hold on.
I got it for you. It's Randall Miller.
Yes, Randall Miller.
My buddy Randall Miller.
Is on your list as well somewhere?
No, I just looked it up for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
How
Randall
many people
Miller.
died on this? If I was Chris Pine, I'd be very, very nervous.
Randall Miller.
Alan Rickman gone. Oh wait, Bill Pullman's still here. I was thinking of Bill Paxton. Never mind.
Randall Miller is forbidden from directing for 10 years because he was the director on Midnight Rider, the Greg Allman story, a film that amazingly on its first day of shooting, not even its first official day, like a day of pre-shoots, they went out, the crew went out. There's a lot of conflicting stories, but basically what happened is the crew and William Hurt, who was playing Greg Allman, went out to film a dream sequence that was taking place on what they believed was an abandoned railroad track. They set up a bed. William Hurt lied there. They were shooting some stuff, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, that's a moving train coming right at us. We have about 40 seconds to get out of here, and they did their best to dismantle everything, the equipment, the bed, the people, obviously. And it's one of those over water, well, most bridges are over water, but it's like over a river and there's a trestle, like the big structure that like holds the bridge in place. So there wasn't a lot of room for the actors or the crew to escape. And so they were kind of pinned up against this trestle, this wall effectively, and the train destroyed the bed, set a bunch of shrapnel flying, and killed, I believe it was a cinematographer, Sarah Jones, a second unit camera operator. She was working the camera. She was not able to escape the flying debris, and the fragments of bed knocked her onto the tracks and killed her.
Yeah, and for the longest time, they might still do it. They might have replaced it now with the cinematographer for Rust, but like the camera department would put her name on the clapboard for certain takes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as a tribute. So
yeah, it's a very sad story. Obviously, there was a very long legal fallout, a lot of fingers being pointed. Oh, you said the bridge was okay. You said this, you said that. No one could really confirm a lot of things. Ultimately, the director was prohibited legally from directing for 10 years, which is,
that was like
I've never heard of that.
He also directed CBGB, which I enjoyed. And you're right, I haven't seen anything he's done since CBGB.
When it's been about 10 years since this incident, so I wonder what that means for.
He directed something in Europe, and he was like reprimanded for it, but ultimately they decided he made a mistake, and I don't know if they extended the 10 years, but yeah, hasn't made a movie in a long time.
Coffee Wars came out last year. He directed it.
That was it. There you go.
It seemed to be doesn't look like it's well received. And it was a vegan barista takes on the world at the World Barista Championship.
Like speed cubers.
Yeah, I feel like how do you get a crew to work for that guy again? I feel like if you're a crew, you're going fuck this guy.
Well, I think a lot of people were probably to blame. Starting
sure,
because he is at the top, but I don't think it was his job to necessarily. I don't know if it started and ended with.
I think there are many failures along the way.
I don't know.
True, but people are tribal though too. That's my point. Is that I could see people sort of going, "He's persona non grata."
Yeah, I mean, Cecil B. DeMille, like he oversaw many sets where people died, but it was a different era, and like we didn't have the reach and the lenses everywhere that the opinions.
To your point, the Hollywood is full of such soulless ghouls that I have no doubt that he'll be. Embraced. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying I don't think I think there are plenty of people who would not have a problem with that.
Honestly, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think that if I was directing something and this happened, I think I would fall on the sword to an extent. I don't know if I could get it back out there, knowing that because of something that I put people in that position, they're no longer here. I don't know if I could ever work again. Like I had a hard time fucking golfing for a while after I on a par 3 hit my ball, soared up. It was a nice shot, and a little bird came and I killed it instantly.
Randy Johnson.
I had a hard time going back to the golf course. I probably took 6 months off, and I love golf. So I don't know if I'd ever be able to direct again, to be honest. And maybe he did fall on the sword a little bit. I don't know the particulars, but maybe he's like, you know what? But no, it doesn't sound like he's like, I just got to direct. Do it under the shade of Europe. I'm going to go over there under the veil of Europe and direct secretly. Yes.
Me and Polanski going to hang out.
That's right, Exiles.
All right.
And number 2.
Number dos for me is a movie It was responsible for 27 deaths. Oh, I should say too that the 10 deaths that came on my number 3, such men are dangerous, with the planes colliding. That's just 2 short years after they instated the film safety regulations, and we're trying to keep a watchful eye over these productions. And then 1 year after that is when a movie called The Viking came out. I think this came up on my tragedies that we did back in 19. What was it? No, 2019. 2019.
It was not 1990s.
All right. But yeah, 27 people died on a movie called The Viking from 1931. After where did it happen? So yeah, the it's not funny. It's just a small film crew joined a ship, the Viking, a sea hunting voyage in order to obtain footage that the director wanted, and the ship became trapped near ice and a place called Horse Isles, and dynamite stored on board intended for breaking up ice flows accidentally detonated and destroying the vessel and killing all 27 men, including Frissell and cameraman Alexander Penrod. So there you go. Not great. The director can't fall on the sword because he exploded in the ship. So that's The Viking, 1931.
Jesus.
27 people died.
Dynamite.
It pales in comparison to my number 1 as far as number, though.
Well, sorry, it's morbid laughter. Number 1 is the aforementioned ignominious Rust. Yes, Rust, which is thus unreleased. Cinematographer, Helena. Sorry, her name is spelled weird. Helena Hutchins. She was killed when actor Alec Baldwin, of course, fired what he thought was a prop gun at the camera. It apparently went right through her, killed her, and actually struck director Joel Souza, was struck in the shoulder. That's a very ugly injury. So despite life-saving efforts, she was killed. They took her to a hospital in New Mexico, but did not have an effect. Armor Hannah Gutierrez Hannah Gutierrez Reed was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 18 months in prison.
And that wasn't the first time that they had an accident with guns and things going wrong on that set.
Someone got bit by a brown recluse spider.
Yeah.
Almost lost his arm.
Yeah. It was cursed. Now,
maybe
in your research for this, because I did not research this one, I knew it was not going to be on my list. So do you have any idea what they're planning on doing with this?
They continued filming.
The film's finished. Supposedly it was announced a year ago, May 2023, that it was going to be released. And it has not, as of yet, obviously come out.
Yeah, honestly, it seemed like my cursory Googling was that they supposedly still 2024 or next year it's going to be coming out.
Honestly, I don't think I would have ever seen this thing before the tragedy, if the tragedy never happened, and I think that I might stick with that. I don't want to see it just because of all of the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah, so what do you do in that scenario? So, yeah, would either of you feel comfortable seeing the movie? Is that crass? Is that gross? Is that honoring the person who died making this?
If it comes out and they're like, the cinematography is amazing, and it's actually a good movie, it's a good story despite everything, like maybe you do get, but it doesn't seem like a Western starring Alec Baldwin is not something I would gravitate towards in normal circumstances, especially now. So I think, what do you do? It's a complicated question.
I think I agree with everything you said. I think it falls under, for us, the heading of, we're doing a service. You know what I mean? As part of this podcast. But if I'm the average viewer, I don't know. I have real misgivings.
Yeah, as do I. All right. Number 1 for me. Get ready for it.
What's your body count?
This is a made for TV movie, 1989.
Doesn't count.
Body count. 62 people died.
Jesus Christ.
Movie is called The Sword of Tipu Sultan. 1989, the largest number of on-set deaths in film history. Took place during the filming of this Indian made-for-TV movie. 62 extras and crew members died after a fire broke out, and they were trapped inside the burning film studio. The director suffered major burns. spent 13 months in the hospital, so he wasn't just going, "I'm hurt too." Like he was like real deal hurt.
Yeah.
And he had 72 operations, all 10 more operations than people died. Can you imagine? Can you?
That's insane. I mean,
But
those are obviously like skin grafts or whatever.
the sword of Tipu Sultan, and that is my number one. Just
89.
1989 is when it came out.
Oof. Terrible.
It was released. Now, if
All
this
right.
was held a candle to like RRR, I would see it. I would see this movie.
Or
I don't
noble
know.
gentleman.
What's sad is it did get released, I believe. And wait a minute, they're calling it a TV series now. No, it's a made for TV movie. All right, whatever. The Sword of Tipu Sultan.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a movie they showed on TV over like 3 parts.
Oh, it says 60. That can't be true, though. That can't be true. Made for TV. All right. Well, either way, very, very tragic. Very tragic deaths.
Sad times.
62. 62 souls.
Is there a listener consensus for this?
My consensus is kind of a bummer. This is
Yeah,
kind of
get more fun with the tragedies, I think.
but I think it's important that we paid tribute to these accents that I feel like a lot of people have no clue existed.
Yeah, it's interesting at the very least, and
Yeah.
it's a nice warning. I think we should shine lights on on this, and not that we're gonna make any major difference or anything, but be safe, everybody. What are you doing?
Yeah. The truncated listener list, because again, not too many responses, compiled by the Goose. Number 3 was the Twilight Zone. Of course, Vic Morrow. Number 2 was Brandon Lee in The Crow.
Sorry.
And number 1 was, of course, Rust, the cinematographer.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone was on my last list, but it is a notorious incident.
No, Toy. A lot of helicopter crashes and incidents that I read about this last week. All right, I'm glad to move on to more fun things. What are we doing next week again, Brian?
Top 5 movies that should have had a trigger warning.
Oh, I mean that shit could be top 5 disturbing, right?
Could be.
Yeah.
But there could also be unexpected things that happen in movies where, like, Jesus, I wish I would have.
Hey,
like Willy Wonka probably needed one.
I like this as a bit. I like this as a topic. I like this as just a single standalone episode. I don't want this to come off like we're advocating for more movies to have trigger warnings before them. All right.
Oh no, we're simply looking back and saying, now they're doing this, here is movies that would have been very justified.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, should it be personal?
That's up to you, bro.
That's a lot of research, Brian. What are you doing?
I disagree. I think it's a fun thought experiment.
Is it? All right. And we got to do top 5 things, random things you learned from movies soon, Brian. Come on. Speaking of which, let me assign you our latest, and that is one of the greatest listeners to ever listen to this program. His name is Stephen Morris.
I love Stephen.
And Stephen Morris has assigned us Summer of 1984. Summer of 1984, not to be confused with Class of 1984. I think it was Class of 1984. That one that we watched a couple of years ago with a very young, pudgy Michael J. Fox. No, this is Summer of 1984. Came out not too long ago. And
there's a film from 2018 called Summer of '84. Is that it?
Yeah, I guess
it looks like a horror movie.
That's it. That is the one.
Exciting.
Title
streaming on Hoopla and Canopy.
84. And then let's not forget, speaking of Canopy, speaking of triggers, that triggered me to remember we will be watching Hundreds of Beavers next month. Coming up here week. Let's make that a very, very fun gathering, a very fun watch along with the listeners, and you and Avery, you're going to sit in for that one as well, right?
Yeah, just give me a heads up on when we're doing it so I can make sure I'm available.
Usually Wednesday nights around like 6.
But you got to give me like the
Wednesdays anyway. So
yeah, I'm normally doing that anyway.
Normally doing what?
Watching Beavers.
Good one. All right, let's get out of here. Let's rock it. Let's roll it. And that is thanks to Stephen Morris for assigning us next week's. Thanks to Jonathan Muser for.
We got to gamble. We tied this week.
Last week. Gambled on. Blink twice. Anderson gets 61. Bryan gets 61. But did the show end? Is this the final episode of the Film Vault? It'd be fitting considering the topic. With 170 reviews, the actual Rotten Tomato score, 74%.
Oh, dodged a bullet.
Making me the winner.
Closer than I would have liked.
What are you gonna do there, Avery? What are you not doing?
I have an assignment.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
It's it's a downtime in the movie season.
In the case of a tie, Avery has to assign us. So what do we say?
It's a little slower because, as evidenced by the fact that Reagan is the movie we'll be gambling on
this
weekend.
You're not doing that though.
No. I'm not assigning you Reagan, but because it is slow, you have to bemoan the fact there's not enough time. There's not enough time to watch things. Well, there is enough time to watch things, and with the death of Acolyte, which was mixed at best. You will not be watching Star Wars Acolyte. You will be watching motherfucking Andor, the first 3 episodes since
no.
Yes.
I know people fighting loopholes.
Yes.
My broken brain.
Yes.
It's not nice. It's not cool.
It is time.
And I would expect more from you because you're part of the show. I guarantee.
It's time.
There's 2 seasons.
No, it has not come out yet. There's only going to be 2 seasons. Only one has been released. The second one comes out in 2025. So starting now, you'll be able to review it, and this will give the listeners plenty of time to catch up if they're in on the Andor train. So we'll be watching the first 3 episodes, which totals only up to 1 hour and 56 minutes anyway. So a little less than 2 hours, and it'll give you a nice overall flavor to the show, and it's good.
Can you go over the numbers? How many episodes?
3 episodes.
There's 3, and there's only 3 episodes?
No. There's 12 episodes total, but most episodes are about 45 minutes.
Remember what Eric Robbins did to me? And he's like, yeah, you're going to be watching Fireflies episode 1, 4, 7, and 9. It's like, what?
Well, I didn't do that.
I don't want to watch all of Endor, and now I'm going to. And you know who's like very excited? And well, I'm not going to watch that either. My buddy Rand is very excited. He's been very, very upset with all of us for not having watched this.
And I'll say, based on the strength of one of the later episodes, one of the writer of that episode was given a Star Wars movie that's going to be coming out. So it's up there, and especially with Brian's love of Rogue One. It's insane that you watched the pile of shit that was the Obi-Wan abortion series, and you have not seen Andor. Disgusting.
I'll be watching this and or something else.
Oh, the worst. First 3 episodes. Enjoy.
All right, let's gamble on Beetlejuice 2. How about that?
Is that coming out? That's not coming out yet.
Isn't it? I think it is.
Is it? No, Beetlejuice is like mid.
Reagan.
Beetlejuice 2024. Beetlejuice is. Oh shit! Are you correct?
No,
you're not correct. No, that's next week. This week, Reagan is what's coming out.
I'm excited.
I don't know why you wouldn't be. There's a lot to love there.
We did a Corolla live show from the Reagan Museum with Dennis Quaid.
Oh, is that just coincidental?
It was back when I was on the show. It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
But that's coincidental.
I believe so.
Did he say if the Reagan movie was going to be good?
Yes, he did. And no, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Did this happen at all? You remind me of that guy. Maybe.
No.
That happened? No.
There was none of that. I will say I know nothing about this movie. I've not seen a single frame or a trailer. I don't know anything.
Speaking of, real quick, I know I'm loquacious considering I'm the one with the heart out, but heart out, I said. Big Eyes, the kind of forgotten, lost Tim Burton movie from a few years ago. Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz.
Sure.
Rewatched that with the wife because she and I have we both appreciate the Keane paintings. And we have a couple of the prints, and they're just very, mid-century and of the era, and they go with the motif that we like around the house. And I'm like, hey, you've never seen this Big Eyes, why don't you watch it? We ended up watching the whole thing, and very enjoyable. I didn't know what to make of it when I watched it the first time. I remember like not liking it at all halfway through, and then realizing, oh, this is supposed to be a comedy, and then kind of enjoying it, knowing that it was a comedy going in this time around. Made me enjoy it a whole lot more. Obviously, the backdrop is great because it's all mid-century. And Jillian was doing some fact checking while watching it because she's like, that didn't happen. That couldn't have happened. And pretty much the entire thing checks out. The only thing she could get back to me on was there's a scene where he tries to stab a art critic in the eye with a fork, and she's like, the fork thing never happened. I'm like, well, I didn't think that happened, but the rest of it worked. He was actually playing both parts when he was, what a crazy man this guy was for in real life. He was in court and he wanted to be his own lawyer, and he was actually in the box. He would ask
jumping back and forth,
and then he would jump in the box and answer the question.
Oh, Christ.
That actually happened. So I another big thumbs up to Big Eyes all these years later. Big Eyes. Big Eyes.
all right, Reagan.
He is so funny. He's so pathetic and hilarious. All right. Yeah, Reagan. I have no idea what to say about this.
This is based on President Reagan.
Oh,
I thought it was about the character in Exorcist.
The Exorcist? No,
Oh.
no. It's not a biopic about her life.
I thought it was about a spin-off of King Lear. No,
It's partially that.
okay.
All right, God. Am I supposed to take this movie seriously? It is, right? Like it's not
You
like
honor our president, you son of a bitch. He was the commander in chief.
I can't believe
Respect the troops.
how is this a movie?
What do you mean? How court? Like it's hard to believe this got made.
Anderson, it's part of monkey season. Bedtime for Bonzo.
Do you think it's gonna? Do you think there's gonna be any? Do you think it's gonna be fair? Do you think it's gonna be like negative stuff? Do you think it's gonna be good?
Oh
stuff?
no, it's gonna be very flowery.
Wait, okay?
There's no way Dennis Quaid would do this. It was the least bit critical.
Is Dennis Quaid? I don't know what his political leanings.
He's a big fan
Oh, is he?
of Mr. Reagan.
Is he a big fan? Okay.
At least he was the day I met him.
All right. Okay, I got my pick. I got my number.
I got a very clever number.
Chef Jeff. Good.
Oh, look
Very
at
clever.
look at fucking John Voight's in this. What are we doing? Okay.
John Voice in it. What do you think? What do you think they're gonna say?
I guess I shouldn't. I just hate how movies are so fucking divided now, and I just look at a normal movie and I'm like, I look at all these left, but they're all left leaning, like hardcore fucking liberals for the most part, right? At least that's how they identify. And it's just it's so obvious now when there's a very, very right leaning movie when they all get together. Okay. Let me just make movies that are honest and entertaining. All right. On 3. 1, 2, 53.
40. Ronald Reagan was our 40th president. I'm going with 40.
Ooh, Anderson guessed 53. Bryan guessed 40. At the time of this recording, there are no reviews, which in this day and age doesn't mean a whole lot.
I got to say, he does. He looks absolutely nothing Reagan-like for a moment, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, that's Reagan. And then it looks nothing like Reagan. And then it's like, oh shit, is that Reagan?
I feel like it'll live and die on his accent, on him nailing the cadence for you to believe it.
All right.
How I'll be interested. Well, I'm not at all interested to see, but I'll be interested to learn how deep he goes with the impersonation.
What if he Austin Butlers himself and he's just stuck as Reagan?
I like that Dennis Quaid. I like him quite a bit. And I hope he pulls it off. I hope this is good. I really do. I don't have much feelings, much hope, but yeah, I think it's just going to be propaganda, right? For like how great he was.
It's going to be very glowing. I have a feeling.
He did so many shitty things. Like he was my childhood president. Like I waited in line for 9 hours trying to go see his, because I had a friend who wanted to go meet me there, and I turned back because like the traffic was so. But it was like I got off work. I think it might have been Loveline, and it was like 3 a.m, and I was sitting on the 118, and I'm just like, I can't do it anymore because of the amount of people trying to go like do the little walk around his casket. He was I grew up with Reagan, but I also absolutely hated him. But yeah, I mean, he means a lot. Okay. All right.
I'm enjoying Rand Courtney's our listener art.
Pretty good, right?
Very enjoyable.
Host in the machine. That's enjoyable. That's enjoyable. Too bad I can't corroborate that, but I believe it happened.
All right, Avery.
On this,
now?
Avery, double check because you have summer of '84 as the.
Yeah. I revised all this shit. Yeah.
Thanks, Rand. Great listener art as always. Thanks, Youth Culture, for being our featured artist this week. Go to Anderson and Bryan. Continue to support the show by clicking the Amazon link, the Amazon banner It costs you nothing, and it helps us out. We appreciate you and your efforts. Let's start putting the threads on here, if you don't mind. Anderson and Bryan is the Instagram. Anderson and Bryan is the TikTok. The Film Vault on Twitter. The Film Vault on Facebook, and the Film Vault podcast over there on YouTube.
The Film Vault.
Enjoy our Patreon over at patreon.com/the Film Vault. You can stream our live show if you're at the $10 level. Yeah, you get the access to the live show stream. Also, hundreds of beavers coming up this month.
Yes, and we're about halfway to our goal, to our mark, to have the prints of the new shirts run off. So I'm hoping to by October we will get there, but $50 gets you the brand new Film Vault shirt, hat, and sweet aluminum cup, which is a big hit in my house. The wife and the boy are almost exclusively drinking fridge water out of those cups. It really is a good drink. It really is. Have you tried the aluminum cups? Either
I used them at the live show.
I don't have one. I need one.
I'll bring you a couple when I see you. But yeah, the hats, trucker hats, and shirts, and just get some Film Vault in your life. $50 supports the show. I'm going to send them out to you personally. I will ship them out once they're printed off. We're thinking fall, but the sooner you guys buy them, the sooner we can have them run off. And Atticus and I will personally put them in the boxes, tape them up, and ship them to your place. I have not made them available for overseas on eBay yet, but I will do that just to help simplify things with shipping. That'll be coming soon. I'll make it.
All right. Exciting stuff, you guys. Thanks for supporting the show. And until next time for the loquacious one.
I feel like you cut me off there.
Oh, there's more. Jeez, you really are loquacious.
I was trailing off, and you're like, oh, all right. I feel like I got played off a little bit. I don't know. I like that feeling.
Well, for the loquacious one, until next time.
We have 3 minutes till I have my heart out, so I want to give the people their money.
What money?
We do it for Van Gogh.